everybody, how are you? My name is Jess, and in today's video I'm going to be doing the newbie tag. So I'm going to be talking all about myself basically, and my channel and what I hope to accomplish here. So if that's something that interests you, then keep on watching. So the first question is, why did I start this channel? And in my real life, I don't have very many friends who enjoy reading as much as I do, and I'm hoping to be able to grow a community on here that likes to read the same books that I do, so that way I can be able to talk and share all of my love for books with you guys. Plus, I also just really love discussing books, whether or not I like them or not. Question 2 is, what are some unique and fun things that I can bring to YouTube? And just like everybody else, I think bringing my own opinions to the table are really important, and maybe you'll be able to get a broader view of different books that are out there and other people's opinions, because not everyone is going to like the same things, and what that person over there likes isn't maybe what I like, and maybe your tastes are more similar to mine than that person's. So I'm hoping that I can bring a different set of opinions to maybe some of the books that are being recommended to you. Question 3 is what I'm most excited for this channel. And I would say I'm most excited to just be able to connect with other people. Like I said, in my real life, I don't have very many friends who read, and sharing a hobby and a passion with other people is, and growing friendships out of those passions and habits, it's a really nice thing. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so one of the things that I do is read, when I'm not taking care of my kids, when I'm not doing, trying to do social media or anything like that. In my downtime, when I get it, I really like to read. So, it gets lonely being a stay-at-home mom, and it would be nice to be able to talk and connect with other people who have similar passions and habits as myself. Question number 4 is, why do I love reading? And I think for a lot of us, it provides an escapism. You're able to escape what's going on in your real life and be able to just really jump into someone else's. And maybe that's the cliche answer, and I really don't care. I've, gone through stuff in my life that, yes, I do want to escape from. And, it's nice to be able to jump into, let's say, a thriller or suspense book and read about the fucked up shit that's happening to someone else for once. When you're dealing with things like depression and death and just some really tough shit going on, you really want to be able to just disconnect from that, and you have to sometimes in order to just kind of save yourself, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that's one of the reasons why I love reading. I mean, it's also can be really fun. You grab a book and you jump right in and you really connect with what's going on in the book, and you're just like, hell yeah, this is fun. I like this book, and it gets you excited. So those are, some of the reasons why I love reading. Number 5 is, what books or series got you into reading? So what really started, I mean, like everyone, I've been reading since I was a really little girl. My mom used to read me Bernstein Bears books when I was little, and she would get really into it. Like, she would do all of the voices, and it was just magical to watch as a child. And so when I learned to read, I got into books like Babysitter's Club, Goosebumps books, things like that. And I remember all throughout elementary school, I always had my nose in the book. I love to read. And then, of course, because I want to be cool, which I totally wasn't, in middle school, I stopped reading. And then I picked it back up in high school, and one of the reasons why I did that was, like I mentioned before, was books providing an escapism. Um, you know, my father had passed away when I was 14, and that was in 8th grade. And then so when I went into 9th grade, I really delved into reading, and some of the books that I really liked to read were books like Ellen Hopkins books, A Child Called It, you know, some things about some other people's lives that, you know, sounded messed up. It helped me feel like I was seen, I guess, you know, that like my pain was reflected in other people, that I wasn't the only one going through this crap. And I also really got into fantasy. So I started reading, at the time there was a series called Uglies. I don't know if any of you ever read those books. The Midnighters, so, you know, sci-fi fantasy as well. Then, you know, it started getting into like Cassandra Clare, Rochelle Mead with the Vampire Academy, PC Cast. Those series helped me deal with a lot of stuff that I was going through at the time in high school. As I started getting into like my early 20s, I didn't want to read as much, so I had this gap where I wasn't reading as much. And then what propelled me back into reading as, you know, in my late 20s was Agatha Christie novels. I really love, she's the one who really introduced me to the genre of like mystery, thriller, suspense, and I just, you know, dived headfirst into that realm, and I love it. Into that genre, I should say, and I really, really love it. Question 6 is, what questions do you have for fellow booktubers? And I guess my questions would be, you know, how do you create meaningful content that other people want to engage in? So far, my videos haven't had the most views, which is to be expected. You know, I'm not doing anything viral or crazy or anything like that. I'm just literally talking about books to people. So I expect that my engagement right off the bat is going to be a lot lower than if, you know, I was to sit here and talk about, I don't know, book talk and Colleen Hoover books and etc. But those things, you know, I'm not gonna lie, they don't excite me. So, you know, how do I create content that I want to create that other people also want to watch, is what I would ask. Number 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So generically speaking, in the broad sense of just YouTube in general, is, you know, gaining subscribers, putting out content that people want to see, you know, getting views, things like that. But in the specific, just for me, it would be, and I'm sure you can hear it, you might be able to hear my kids in the background, you might be able to hear my neighbors in the background. I live on a 1st floor apartment and it's pretty small. So, you know, unless I film at the ass crack of dawn, which, let's be real, I'm not going to do, you know, you're going to hear those things in the background. And I know that bothers some people. So, you know, finding a filming schedule that works for me and around my family is probably the biggest challenge for me. You know, if I wake up before my kids, that's really, really early, and then I will be dead. You know, I won't have any personality. I'll barely be able to make coherent sentences. I'm just not a morning person. And then on the flip side of that, I'm also not a night person. So by the time that they go to sleep, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I don't want to film a video. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to lay on my bed and watch Stranger Things with my husband. And, you know, so finding the time in the day to actually film is going to be pretty difficult for me. Also, getting used to filming and editing, and also not being so nervous talking in front of the camera. I don't know what it is, but if my husband isn't home, sitting in front of the camera is a lot easier and talking out loud is a lot easier. If my husband is home, I get really, really shy and nervous that he's gonna hear me. We've been together since we were 15. We've been married for going on 9 years, and you would think that I would have gotten over that fear, but apparently not. It's awkward, you know. So, because I care about what he thinks the most. So. Number 8 is, when did you start reading? And I feel like I've already really talked about this, so I'm not gonna go into it too much. Again, you know, basically what I said before, you know, my mom reading me bedtime stories every night, then me just picking up books when I was probably around 6 or 7. I can't remember, but basically since I was a very little girl, and I've had small portions in the timeline of my life where maybe I didn't read, but for the vast majority of it, I did. So, oh, number 9 is, where do you read? I pretty much bring a book with me everywhere. It's always in my purse. If I'm running errands, I bring it. If I'm going to the doctor's, I bring it. But a lot of the times I am at home, so I read mostly at home. I have a rocking chair set up in my son's room, and I like to sit in that rocking chair. It also reclines, so it's really nice because I can read my book and then they can play on the floor in front of me, and it's easier to read and then stop and talk to them and play with them for a bit and then go back to reading. They seem to really like that. I also read on everywhere in my house, basically the couch, my bed, wherever. This chair in this corner, you know. Number 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? And anything contemporary fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, thriller, and suspense. That's actually my favorite. I'll read contemporary romance with, you know, love stories. Pretty much anything that's really not the classics and also not nonfiction. I don't jive well with like self-help books, autobiographies. Nonfiction's just not my thing. And then also the classics, there's only a few that I actually really enjoy, but for the most part, I just remember being forced to read them when I was younger, you know, in high school and things, and I didn't like them. I hated them. Number 11 is, what does my book collection look like? So I am gonna take you on a little tour of my bookshelves. So I just got these bookshelves from IKEA, and over here, let's go all the way to the top. So this one on the left, right now I just have my Mina Lima Harry Potter books in it. And I have down here in this drawer some of my filming equipment. And then all the way at the top, I have my jigsaw puzzles. I really love to do puzzles. Right now I don't have the space in the apartment to do those. And then this is my contemporary fiction and thriller and suspense bookshelf on this side. So mixed with some other books that you'll see at the bottom. So here we go. And then I have my favorite book that I've read this year right here on display. More books. Down here at the bottom, I have some of my Ellen Hopkins book, Nicholas Sparks, and at the very bottom I have books from Patricia Cornwell, Kathy Reichs. Basically, all of my forensic anthropology books live down at the bottom. I used to want to be a forensic anthropologist, and so I used to be really big on reading their books. And then my middle shelf, I just kind of use a lot of it as a display. So more Harry Potter stuff, some cute things, a little sign that I try to put in the background of all my videos. Then I have my little romance section. It's very, very tiny. My to be read pile, and then at the very bottom is some James Patterson books. And then over here, again, more Harry Potter stuff. And then I get into more of my fantasy bookshelf. So The House in the Cerulean Sea, I really love that book. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Love that one. And then here is Kelly Armstrong. I have a whole shelf dedicated to her. I started reading her in my early 20s, I would say, and I really loved her books. And then I have some Rochelle Mead, love hers as well. Cassandra Clare and Patricia Briggs. Those are some things that I read more in like high school, and then also at the bottom some more books that I read in high school, like Hunger Games and the Ugly series that I was talking about. And sorry that some of the books are flipped around. My children really like to play in here when they're not really supposed to. But yep, there's my bookshelves. So that's gonna do it for today's video, you guys. I hope you guys like to getting to know me a little bit better and what I hope for this channel. So if you liked this video, give it a like. Also, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. And I put out new videos every Wednesday and Friday. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!